The mysterious arrival. It was a quiet evening in the small town of Ashwood. The sun had just begun to dip below the horizon, casting a soft orange glow over the trees and houses. Most of the town was calm, with people winding down after their day, but for Emma this evening was about to turn into something far from ordinary. Emma was a young woman in her early 20s with a curious spirit that often led her to explore places no one else dared. She had always been fascinated by the woods that surrounded Ashwood, especially as the shadows of night grew longer. The trees seemed to whisper secrets, as if they had been standing for centuries watching everything that happened in the town. On this evening she had decided to take her usual walk through the woods she loved. The solitude, the peace, and the way the world seemed to quiet down when she was surrounded by the thick dark forest. As she walked deeper into the woods, the familiar sounds of birds and rustling leaves suddenly became distant. A strange low hum filled the air, vibrating through her chest. It wasn't the sound of wind or any animal she had ever heard. The hairs on the back of Emma's neck stood up, and she felt her heart beat faster. Curiosity overcame her fear. She followed the strange sound, pushing through thick branches and tall grass. It seemed to be coming from just ahead. As she reached a small clearing, Emma froze in her tracks. There in the center of the clearing was a large object that glowed with a faint eerie blue light. It was unlike anything she had ever seen. The shape of it was smooth, rounded, and metallic, almost like a giant rock, but it wasn't a rock. Emma could tell it was something from far beyond this world. Her breath caught in her throat. For a moment she thought about running back to town to get help, but something held her in place. The object was silent now, and there was no sign of movement. It almost looked abandoned, yet Emma felt that something was wrong. Something told her that whatever had crashed here wasn't just some piece of random space debris. As she took a step closer, she noticed a faint, soft sound coming from the object, like someone was breathing. The air around her felt charged with energy, as though the object was alive. Then suddenly the metallic surface of the object cracked open with a sharp noise. Emma's heart raced, her hands trembling. As she stepped back a little, the crack grew wider, and a figure slowly emerged from the inside. At first she thought it was a person, but as the figure stepped into the clearing, she realized it was something completely different. It was a being unlike anything Emma had ever seen. The creature was humanoid in shape, but had smooth silver blue skin that shimmered under the fading light. Its eyes were large and black, almost too dark to see any detail. Its body was thin but strong, and it moved with an odd grace. The being stumbled forward, its movement slow and uncertain. Emma's first instinct was to run, but she couldn't. She stood frozen, watching in awe and fear. The alien stopped just a few feet from her and looked at her with its dark, piercing eyes. For a moment the two of them stood in complete silence, the only sound being the distant rustling of leaves. Are you okay?" Emma finally asked, her voice shaking. The alien didn't respond. At first it seemed confused, disoriented, then with a strange soft whimper it collapsed to its knees. Emma rushed forward without thinking. "Hey, are you hurt?" she asked, kneeling down beside it. She wasn't sure what to do. This wasn't like helping an injured animal. The alien's skin felt cold to the touch, but there was a strange warmth underneath, like it was struggling to maintain its energy. The creature's breath was shallow, and it looked up at Emma with what seemed like a mix of fear and hope in its eyes. She could see the pain in its gaze. It reached out a trembling hand and placed it on her arm, as if trying to communicate something. Emma felt a sense of urgency. The alien needed help, and she was the only one there. She gently helped it to stand, her mind racing. There was no way she could leave it here alone and vulnerable. She had to get it somewhere safe. She glanced around, her heart pounding. The forest was too dangerous, and she knew the town was not far. She needed to get the alien to safety, but how? The alien's breathing became more erratic, as if it was struggling for air. Emma knew time was running out. Without thinking any longer, she carefully supported the alien, guiding it back toward the path. It was heavy but not impossible to move. The creature seemed to rely on Emma, trusting her to lead the way. As they made their way through the forest, Emma couldn't help but feel a strange connection to the alien. It was a feeling she couldn't explain, as if the two of them were linked by something beyond words. She wasn't sure what would happen next, but one thing was certain: Emma's life was about to change in ways she couldn't Even begin to imagine. Little did she know this was just the beginning of something far bigger than either of them could understand. The alien wasn't just an accident, it had arrived with a purpose. And Emma would soon find herself in the middle of a secret that would alter the fate of not only Earth but the entire galaxy. First contact. The trek back through the woods felt like an eternity. To Emma, the strange alien who she still didn't know how to properly call was leaning heavily on her as they walked. Despite the weight, Emma felt a strange responsibility in helping this being she had never imagined she'd be caught up in something so out of this world. Every step she took seemed to echo louder than the last, as if the forest itself was holding its breath waiting for something. By the time they reached the edge of the forest and emerged onto the road, Emma's legs were aching, but there was no time to stop. The creature's irregular breathing made her nervous, and she hurried towards her house, hoping no one would see her. She didn't even know if she was making the right decision, but the alternative, leaving it alone, felt impossible. Her house was small, tucked away on a quiet street near the town's edge. It was perfect for moments like this when Emma needed space and solitude. She quickly led the alien through the back door, praying that her parents wouldn't come home soon. The house was empty save for her dog Max, who looked at her with his usual curious eyes. The alien exist, and so they formed the reclamation. Zara looked up at Emma, her eyes suddenly intense. I am part of the reclamation. We were chosen from those who showed anomalies, those who despite generations of engineering still felt echoes of what we once were. We were sent to worlds where family still thrives, to learn, to understand, and to bring that knowledge back. Emma's throat felt tight. So you came to Earth to learn about family, about love? Zara nodded slowly. Yes, but my ship was damaged in transit. I crashed here, unable to communicate with my people. I am stranded. Emma, but perhaps that is not entirely misfortune. Perhaps I was meant to find you. The words hung between them, heavy with implication. Emma felt a strange sensation in her chest, as if something inside her was reaching out to this lost being from the stars. I will help you, Zara, Emma said firmly. I'll show you what family means to us, what it could mean to your people. Zara's expression softened, and for the first time Emma thought she saw the faintest hint of a smile. Thank you, Emma, but I must warn you, there are others of my kind who do not want the reclamation to succeed, those who believe we should remain as we are, and if they find me here, they will not hesitate to eliminate any threat to their vision of our future. Emma's blood ran cold at the warning, but she didn't falter. Something greater than fear was driving her now, a determination to help this being, to show her the beauty of human connection. Well, face that if it comes, she said. For now, let's focus on healing you, and then I'll introduce you to what family really means. Little did Emma know just how deep this journey would take them both, or how soon Zara's warning would prove prophetic lessons in humanity. Days passed as Emma kept Zara hidden in her house. Thankfully, her parents were away on a business trip, giving her time to figure out what to do next. With each passing day, Zara's strength returned and her fascination with human life grew. Emma found herself becoming both a caretaker and a teacher, explaining concepts that she had always taken for granted. This, Emma said one morning, holding up a framed photograph, is my family, my mom, my dad, and my little brother Jake. She pointed to each figure in turn, smiling at the memory of the day the photo was taken, a summer picnic by the lake. Zara leaned closer, her large eyes studying the image with intense concentration. You all look different from one another, yet you are family. Emma nodded. Family isn't about looking the same, it's about connection, love, supporting each other even when it's difficult. Zara's head tilted slightly. Love, this word, I have heard it many times now, but I still do not fully understand it. Emma set the photo down, considering how to explain something so fundamental yet so complex. Love is, she began, then paused. Love is caring about someone else's happiness as much as your own, sometimes even more than your own. The alien's brow furrowed. That seems inefficient. Emma laughed softly. That's exactly what makes it beautiful, Zara. Love isn't efficient, it isn't logical, it's messy and complicated, and sometimes it hurts, but it's what makes life worth living. As days turned into a week, Emma showed Zara movies, read her stories, and shared memories of her own family, both the good times and the difficult ones. She explained traditions celebrations and the simple daily routines that bound families together. One evening as they sat watching the sunset from Emma's back porch, Zara spoke with newfound clarity. I think I am beginning to understand family is not just a biological unit, it is a choice to care. To protect, to remain loyal even when circumstances change. Emma nodded, smiling. That's part of it, yes. On my world, Zara continued, we reproduce through carefully selected genetic pairing. The offspring are raised in communal facilities, educated by the state. The biological parents may never even meet their children. Emma felt a pang of sadness. That sounds lonely. It was efficient, Zara replied, but there was a new note in her voice. Something like regret. But I see now what we sacrificed for that efficiency. Their quiet moment was interrupted by a sharp, high-pitched sound. Emma turned to see Zara's bracelet glowing intensely, pulsing with urgent light. What is it? Emma asked. Alarmed, Zara's expression darkened. A signal from my people. She touched the bracelet and a holographic display appeared above it, showing strange symbols that shifted and changed. They've tracked my ship. They're coming. Emma's heart raced. The reclamation? No, Zara whispered, her voice tight with fear. The preservers, those who oppose our mission, those who believe our society should remain as it is. Emma stood suddenly protective. What do we do? Zara looked up at her, and in that moment the alien seemed more vulnerable than ever. I must complete my mission before they arrive. I must understand family, truly understand it, so that I can transmit that knowledge back to the reclamation, even if I am captured. How long do we have? 3 days, perhaps 4. Emma took a deep breath, making a decision. Then we need to do more than just talk about family. You need to experience it. She reached for her phone. I'm calling my parents. They need to come home. Zara's eyes widened with alarm. You would reveal me to others, not just others, Emma said firmly. My family. If you want to understand what family really means, you need to see how they'll react when I need them, how they'll help us even though they don't understand. She squeezed Zara's cold hand. That's what family does. The call was brief. Emma told her parents she was in trouble, that she needed them home immediately. She didn't explain further. But she didn't need to. They promised to be there by morning. That night as Zara slept fitfully on the couch, Emma stayed awake watching over her new friend. She staggered into the living room and Emma helped it onto the couch. She stepped back for a moment, taking in the situation. The creature's dark eyes were locked onto hers. She had the strange feeling that it was studying her, trying to make sense of her, and yet it was clear that it was not just studying her, it was looking for something. It wasn't long before Emma felt a chill, a soft whisper in the air, like the wind but more deliberate. She turned around sharply as if someone had spoken her name, but the house was quiet. Emma shook her head and turned her attention back to the alien, who seemed to be growing weaker with every passing second. Her first instinct was to grab a phone and call for help, but something inside her told her that this was no ordinary situation. She couldn't trust just anyone with this secret, not yet, not when she didn't even know what it meant. Taking a deep breath, she approached the alien sitting on the coffee table in front of it. It wasn't moving much anymore, just staring at her with an intensity that felt almost like it was begging her to understand something. Can you speak? Emma asked quietly, her voice trembled. Do you understand me? The alien's dark eyes blinked slowly, and for a moment Emma wasn't sure if it would answer. Then, almost as if reacting to the question, the alien raised a slender hand to its chest and pressed its fingers against the fabric of what seemed like a strange glowing bracelet on its wrist. The bracelet seemed to hum softly in response, sending a strange pulse through the air. Hello. The voice was a strange mix of sound and vibration, as though it wasn't coming from the alien's mouth but from the very air around it. Emma froze, unsure if she had imagined it. The alien's eyes widened slightly, its gaze still fixed on her. It seemed to be trying again. Hello, it repeated, clearer this time. The words were rough, as if it had just learned them. The sound itself was strange, deep and melodic, but with an underlying hum that Emma felt in her chest rather than heard with her ears. Emma could hardly believe what she was hearing. The alien was speaking, but how and why? She opened her mouth to ask more questions but found herself speechless for a moment. I am Zara, the alien said, the voice shaky but determined. I come from a place far, far away. I do not know how I got here, but I am lost. The words made Emma's heart skip a beat. Zara, that was the name of the Alien, it was learning, it was talking, it was real, and it needed help. Emma leaned forward. Zara, how can I help you? What happened to you? Zara's eyes fluttered as if the question had taken it by surprise. It took a moment to process, then spoke again, but this time its voice was filled with sadness and confusion. Where am I? Zara whispered. This place, the air feels wrong, the energy is weak here. Emma frowned, trying to understand. You mean Earth? Zara nodded slowly. Earth, yes, I do not belong here. The alien's eyes seemed distant, almost pained. Emma could see it was struggling with something. The connection between them was strange but undeniable. There was so much about this creature she didn't understand, yet something told her that this wasn't a random encounter. There was a reason Zara had come here. Why did you come here? Emma asked. The question was out before she even thought about it. She needed answers, and she felt Zara might have some, but even as the words left her mouth she realized how strange they sounded. Zara's head tilted slightly as if considering the question. It opened its mouth to speak but then stopped instead. The bracelet on its wrist hummed again, its light shifting colors in a mesmerizing pattern. I came to understand, Zara said slowly, as though choosing her words carefully. What makes family family? Emma blinked, not quite understanding. What do you mean family? Yes, Zara replied, my people. We lost family, we forgot its meaning. I need to know what makes family here. The word sent a chill through Emma. Zara wasn't just some lost alien, this was something bigger. The creature was on a mission, something deep and important, and whatever it was, Emma was now part of it. Whether she liked it or not, as the weight of Zara's words sank in, Emma couldn't help but wonder what this meant for her and for the world. What was Zara's real mission? Why had she come to Earth, and why had the universe chosen Emma to help? And most of all, what was this strange connection she felt between herself and the alien? Zara's story. Emma sat across from Zara, her mind racing with questions. The alien's words lingered in the air, and for the first time Emma realized that this wasn't just some wild encounter with a stranger from another planet. This was something far bigger, something that was going to change everything. Zara's alien eyes shimmered softly in the dim light of the living room. There was a strange calmness about her, as if she had been waiting for someone to ask her this question for a long time. Emma was trying to understand, trying to put the pieces together, but the more she looked at Zara, the more she saw a being that was filled with both knowledge and sorrow. Zara had asked for help to understand the concept of family, but why? Was it some cultural misunderstanding, or was there something more to it? The air in the room felt thick with tension, and Emma could sense the weight of the alien story hanging over them both. Zara, Emma began, her voice gentle, what happened to your family? Why don't you know what family is? Zara's dark eyes closed for a moment, and Emma noticed a faint flicker of pain cross her face when she opened her eyes again. They seemed distant, as though the memories were just out of reach. We were once like you, Zara began, her voice soft but steady. My people, the Zirians, we lived among many stars in a place far beyond this earth. We were once united by something greater than just blood, family, but in time we lost it. Emma leaned forward, her curiosity growing. How did you lose it? Zara's gaze shifted to the glowing bracelet on her wrist, the one that hummed faintly as if resonating with her words. We were an empire long before I was born, a great empire spanning many worlds. We believed in strength, in control. The Zirians, we ruled the stars, and in our pursuit of power we lost the very thing that made us who we were. Emma didn't speak, she just listened, her heart heavy with empathy for this creature that seemed so alien yet so much like a lost soul searching for its place in the universe. We had family once, Zara continued, her voice trembling now, but we sacrificed it for efficiency, for survival. My ancestors believed that emotions were a weakness, that attachments held us back from greatness, so they engineered us. Couldn't explain the bond that had formed between them so quickly, but she knew it was real. She would protect Zara. Whatever came next. As dawn broke, Emma heard the sound of a car in the driveway. Her parents had arrived, the moment of truth had come. Mom, Dad, Emma said as they rushed through the door, concern etched on their faces. There's someone I need you to meet. When Zara stood and faced Emma's parents, the silence was deafening. Her mother gasped, her father instinctively stepped in front of his wife, but Emma moved between them, her voice steady. This is Zara, she's not from Earth, she's in danger and she needs our help. What followed was a chaotic morning of explanations, disbelief, fear, and finally, Tentative acceptance by noon. Emma's parents had moved from shock to cautious curiosity by evening. As Zara shared her story and her mission, something remarkable happened. Emma's mother brought Zara a blanket when she noticed her shivering. Her father offered her food awkwardly but kindly, small gestures, human gestures that spoke volumes. You see, Emma whispered to Zara as they watched her parents discussing quietly in the kitchen, this is family accepting the impossible, helping despite fear, protecting each other. Zara's eyes glistened with something Emma hadn't seen before, emotion, raw and powerful. I understand now, not just in theory but here. She placed a hand over her chest. I feel it, this connection, this love. But their moment of revelation was cut short by a brilliant flash of light from outside. The ground shook and a low ominous hum filled the air, much like the one Emma had heard in the forest, but louder, more threatening. They're here, Zara said, rising to her feet. The preservers have found me. Emma's father moved immediately to the window, then back to his family. What do we do? Emma looked at Zara, then at her parents. In just days her world had expanded beyond imagination, and now it was in danger, but she wasn't facing it alone. We protect each other, she said firmly. That's what family does. Zara stood beside her, no longer alien but somehow part of them now. I must face them, but not as I was when I arrived. She touched her bracelet, which now glowed with a warm golden light. I am changed, and perhaps I can change them too. Together they walked to the door, a most unlikely family preparing to face whatever came next. The light between worlds. The night air was charged with electricity as Emma, her parents and Zara stepped onto the front lawn. Above them, hovering silently, was a craft similar to Zara's but much larger, its metallic surface gleaming under the moonlight. A beam of light shot down from its center, and within seconds 3 figures materialized on the grass. They were like Zara in form, tall, slender beings with silvery blue skin, but their posture was rigid, their movements mechanical. Their eyes, unlike Zara's which had grown expressive during her time with Emma, remained cold and calculating. The one in the center stepped forward. Specimen Zara 379, you have violated protocol. Your mission parameters did not include integration with native species. You will return for extraction and memory purification. Emma felt Zara tense beside her when she spoke. Her voice was stronger than Emma had ever heard it. I am not a specimen. I am Zara, and I have discovered what the reclamation sent me to find. The leader's expression didn't change. The reclamation project has been terminated. The council has determined that emotional revival poses too great a risk to societal stability. Emma's mother gasped softly, and her father moved closer to his family, protective. Zara shook her head. You're wrong. What I've learned here, what I've experienced, it doesn't threaten stability. It's the foundation of true strength. Irrelevant, the leader replied. You will come with us now. Emma stepped forward, placing herself partially between Zara and the newcomers. She's not going anywhere. She doesn't want to go. The leader's gaze shifted to Emma, studying her with cold curiosity. This primitive species cannot comprehend the complexities of our society. Step aside or face neutralization. No, Emma's father said, moving to stand beside his daughter. You don't understand. That's not how things work here. Emma's mother joined them, forming a human barrier between Zara and her people. If you want her, you'll have to go through us. The leader raised a slender device that pulsed with energy that can be arranged, but before he could activate the weapon, Zara's bracelet began to glow intensely, radiating waves of golden light that spread outward like ripples in a pond. The light touched the preservers, and for a moment they froze, their expressions shifting from blank impassivity to confusion. What is this? The leader demanded, his voice suddenly less mechanical, tinged with something like fear. Zara stepped forward, the bracelet growing brighter still. This is what you've forgotten, what we all forgot. Connection, love, family. She gestured to Emma and her parents. They're willing to risk their lives for me, someone they just met, someone different from them in every way, because they understand what we lost. The golden light continued to spread, enveloping them all in its warm glow. Emma felt something strange, a resonance, as if she could sense the emotions of everyone present. She felt Zara's determination, her parents' protective love, and something new from the preservers. Confusion, yes, but also a flicker of something long buried, longing. Our ancestors believed they were Creating perfection. Zara continued, her voice echoing strangely in the golden light, but they were wrong. Perfect efficiency without connection isn't life, it's just existence. Look at what we've become, look at what we've lost. The light from Zara's bracelet formed images in the air, scenes from the Zirian home world, once vibrant with connection and joy, now sterile and empty. Scenes of Earth, families laughing, arguing, supporting each other through hardship. The contrast was stark and undeniable. The leader's hand trembled, the weapon lowering slightly. These feelings, they're overwhelming, distracting. Yes, Zara agreed, they are. They're messy and inefficient and sometimes painful, but they give life meaning. Emma stepped forward, standing beside Zara, now no longer afraid. On Earth we have a saying, it is better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. What your people did, removing love to avoid pain, it didn't make you stronger, it made you incomplete. The leader's companions were looking at each other now, their expressions shifting, awakening. One of them spoke, her voice softer than her leader's. The home world is dying, you know this, she said to the leader. Not physically but spiritually. We reproduce, but our numbers dwindle. We create, but without purpose. Perhaps she has found what we need. For a long moment the leader stood motionless, clearly battling within himself. Then slowly he lowered the weapon completely. What is this function, he asked, his voice uncertain. This family. Emma's mother stepped forward, then her initial fear now replaced by compassion. She reached out and took the leader's hand, a gesture so simple, so human. Family is knowing you're not alone, she said gently. It's having people who see your flaws and love you anyway, who challenge you to be better, who stand by you when you fail. The golden light pulsed and Emma felt something shift in the air around them, a barrier breaking, a connection forming. The leader's eyes widened and for the first time emotion crossed his face, wonder, confusion, and something like the beginning of joy. The reclamation, he whispered, perhaps they were right after all. Zara moved to stand before him, her former fear now replaced by certainty. Come home with me, bring what we've learned here back to our people. Let me show them what I've experienced, what I've felt. Let me show them what family can be. The leader looked at Zara, then at Emma and her parents, standing together, unified despite their fear. Something in his expression softened. The council will resist, he warned, then we'll face them together. Zara replied, as family. The word hung in the air between them, charged with new meaning. The leader nodded slowly, a decision made. As the night deepened around them, plans were formed. The preservers would return to their world not as captives but as allies. Zara would go with them, carrying the knowledge she had gained not just in her mind but in her heart. Emma's family spent hours sharing stories, explaining concepts, showing the Zirians what it meant to be connected. When dawn approached, it was time to say goodbye. Emma stood with Zara at the edge of the yard, away from the others, their hands clasped together. I don't want you to go, Emma admitted, tears welling in her eyes. Zara's expression was soft now, so different from the confused alien being who had stumbled into the clearing just days ago. I must, my people need what I've learned here, what you've taught me. Will I ever see you again? Zara touched her bracelet and a small piece of it detached, floating toward Emma. It hovered before her, then gently attached itself to her wrist, glowing warmly against her skin. With this we will always be connected, Zara said. Across the stars, across time, you have given me the greatest gift. Emma, you have taught me what it means to be part of a family. Now I must share that gift with my people. They embraced, human and alien, no longer separated by difference but united by something deeper. When they parted, Emma saw in Zara's eyes a reflection of herself, the same curiosity, the same capacity for love, the same determination to make a difference. You're taking a piece of Earth with you, Emma said softly. Zara touched her chest. Yes, here always. As the ship hummed to life and the Zirians prepared to depart, Zara turned one last time to the family that had changed everything. Thank you, she said simply, for showing me what we lost, for giving me the chance to help my people find it again. Emma stood with her parents, their arms around each other, watching as the ship rose silently into the dawn sky. The bracelet on her wrist pulsed gently, a reminder of the connection that remained. Do you think they'll succeed? Her father asked quietly. Do you think her people can change? Emma touched the bracelet, feeling the warmth of it against her skin. I don't know, but if anyone can help them remember what it means to be connected. It's Sarah. As the ship disappeared from view, Emma felt not loss but hoped somewhere across the vastness of space a civilization might relearn what it meant to love, to care, to be family, and here on Earth a family stood together, forever changed by their encounter with a being from beyond the stars. The bracelet glowed softly in the morning light, a bridge between worlds, a reminder that some connections transcend distance, transcend difference, transcend even the vast emptiness of space. Some connections, like family, like love, are universal. The end.